Okay, so it's time for the Christmas road trip 2022. This year, I'm going to Great Yarmouth. I'm going to spend a few days there to see my parents, and then I'm off to Chichester and then back to Manchester. So let's see how the Tesla gets on, especially in this horrible weather. Okay, it's time to move the charging cable to the front. Get rid of these leaves. Does everyone else, has this happened where the front of your car is full of leaves? Let's get rid of these. Oh, right. Now, what's good about this year is that we have the new trip graph. Before, you kind of had to estimate how well the car would do in these cold conditions. But this year we have the updated trip graph. So I'm going to reset that now. I'll show you how to do that in case you want to do it for your road trips. So this is the trip graph I'm talking about. But if you actually want to reset yours, all you need to do is tap the car symbol down the right here and then go to trips. And then what we want to do is we want to reset one of these. So I've got this one called testing range that I used for another video. I'm going to call this Christmas trip. Save. And then we're going to reset Christmas trip. And then it means we're going to get an accurate look at how this car does over this entire journey. Okay, so I have just set off. It's super busy, so I just wanted to get out of my road to get on the motorway because I live right near the Trafford Centre in Manchester, one of the country's biggest shopping centres. So as you can imagine, at Christmas, it's extremely busy around here. So I just want to get on the road. I've only got 49%, 50% battery in the car, which isn't great when you're setting off for a long road trip. I just didn't have time yesterday to charge the car, and I don't have a home charger. So we're now looking for a supercharger. It's going to take us to Leeds, Huddersfield, at the Ferry Bridge supercharger. I should arrive there with 22%. Now already you can see that it's a pretty kind of rainy day and the window wipers aren't working their best. Still probably the thing I hate most about the Tesla. Hate's a strong word, but these window wipers are just not great. I'm always having to tap this little button here to get it to clear the windscreen. That's one thing I hope in a future Tesla they really do improve, because it's not great. They're picking up a little bit now, but for about the first 5-10 minutes they just weren't coming on at all. So when I first got the car almost 2 years ago now, I definitely had a lot more range anxiety than I do now. There's no way I would have set off on a 600 or 700 mile road trip with 50% battery in winter, no way. But I think, you know, as we're seeing more and more superchargers, I'm definitely treating it much more like I would a petrol car. Now, of course, obviously, if you can charge before you go anywhere, it saves you a lot of hassle and time. I do actually want to get a bit of lunch anyway, which is why I didn't rush out this morning for a full charge. I'm going to arrive about sort of lunchtime, 12:30. So I am treating the car much more like a petrol car. I have much less range anxiety. So I just wanted to say that if you're thinking of getting a Tesla or you've just got one, I know to start with it can seem like a right pain in the ass worrying about the charging, but you know, after 2 years I'm just letting the car do its work. Now it is Christmas, it's getting busier, there's more Teslas on the road, the superchargers are open, so now I'm saying it's all right. Maybe if we cut to the supercharger when I get there, it could be a different feeling altogether, but let's carry on and see how we get on. Okay, I'm gonna go for this one. Looks like we've got some new ones here as well. Apple green electric, they're new. Right, let's go grab a coffee. So no, your speakers are not broken. There is no audio for this part of the video. I realized after recording the road trip that my microphone batteries had completely died, and I had roughly 2 hours worth of footage using this camera and the microphone where there was just no audio at all. So I'm just going to piece together the rest of this video with a little bit of voiceover. But before I get back into the video, I want to say a big shout out to Matthew Jackson and his son. They're viewers of this channel and they came over and said hello at that supercharger. So I just want to say a big hello to you, Matthew, and I hope the rest of your journey went well.
Now, back to the video. So I started off the journey with 52% battery and I arrived at the Ferrybridge supercharger with 33% battery. Okay, so I took the car all the way up to 85%, which displayed a range of 276 miles, which felt a little bit low. I then pumped in Norwich for the destination and had 181 miles to go, which was going to take around 4 hours.
Okay, let's get out of here. Not a bad little supercharger, that one. Okay, let's go. Change that back to percentage. Okay, so I'm stuck in traffic once again. So it's saying I've got 3 hours and 18 minutes, 151 miles to Norwich, but it's been pretty slow. I think because of the weather, and I mean you can see how grey it is. There's been a few accidents today, and now I'm going 4 miles an hour. Autopilot's on though, so that's doing most of the work, but got a feeling this is going to be a very, very slow journey. Originally I planned to get to Norwich for about 4 o'clock so I could go to a chocolate shop to get my wife some these sort of artisan chocolates that she likes, but I'm definitely going to miss that, so I'll have to get those tomorrow. But looking at the map, it's quite, I mean it's orange, it's not red at least, but it's orange for a good maybe 2 or 3 miles, so could be stuck here quite some time. Fingers crossed it'll clear up.
After about 45 minutes of traffic, I was back onto a clear run to Norwich, and I decided to stop for a charge at the fantastic grid serve just outside Norwich city centre. I arrived here with 52 miles left in the battery, or around 16%. What I like about this new graph is that it shows you exactly if you're using more or less than the car predicted. My journey was actually pretty good, only going 3.3% over the predicted journey. The grid serve is a fantastic place to charge your car, and I did a whole video about this here on the channel, so check the link around the video if you want to see that one. After a little work on the laptop, I charged up to 264 miles of range, or 81%. Now it was time to head to the hotel and check in.
Okay, so I've just checked into the hotel. It's a very wet night, but I'm putting the winter jacket on and I'm gonna go and grab some dinner from the city centre. Walking home, it's stopped raining, and I stopped and had a little bit of Thai food. I didn't actually film it, and I thought, damn, I should have filmed that because I need some more content for this video. I just didn't want to be one of those people who films everything they eat when they're in a busy restaurant, and I still get a bit paranoid about filming myself in public. So take my word for it, it was good. I'm gonna end early night. I'll catch you all in the morning. Oh, what's this? So it looks like I've got the new Christmas update. Loads of improvements here. And because I'm in Norfolk for a few days, I'll probably record the update video first. So you've probably already watched that if you watch the channel a lot. So lots of good updates here. But I'm gonna leave the car here, walk into Norwich, get some breakfast and carry on with some Christmas shopping. Let's go. Horrible weather. Right, so next I'm heading to a place called Aylsham. Never been there before actually, but it's about I think about 10 miles away from Norwich, to pick up my wife some artisan chocolates.
let's head down.
Bye bye hotel. Now I just wanted to break in here. I've got the car on autopilot, and I just take it off autopilot. Even though this is a 60, it's restricting me to 41 miles an hour. And I think that's happening because the visibility of the cameras is not that great. It happened as I was driving. So if you just look at the cameras, I don't know if you can see that here on the screen, but very blurry, very messy. Obviously one of the major problems with a car simply relying on cameras in bad weather to determine distance and everything. So maybe they've realized actually the camera system isn't particularly that great, and in rain we're going to be restricted to 41 miles an hour. I mean, we're now going into a 40, but we're coming down from a 60. Interesting. I've never seen that before, even when the weather's been pretty bad. So it's actually my first ever time in Aylsham, so let's have a look around, see what's about. So I got my software update today. The engineers still haven't fixed the auto wipers, they're still shit. But they have added a verified fart because I'm a verified Twitter user, so that's really good. So I can now do a verified fart from within the car. So yeah, engineers concentrating on the good stuff. Okay, so I've seen a bit of Aylsham, it's still absolutely throwing it down. So now I think it's time to go home to Great Yarmouth. So let's go. Next, I got to Galston, saw my mum, and the very next morning, Christmas Eve, was absolutely beautiful, glorious weather. So I headed down to Galston Beach for a walk with my dad, and then I took my mum in the car to Great Yarmouth for a walk around the town and down the Golden Mile seafront. Now, I'm actually from the Great Yarmouth area, and I spent my whole childhood either working on the seafront in burger stalls, fish and chip shops, candy floss stalls, or going out with friends. And I haven't been back to the seafront in many, many years. So if you've ever been to Great Yarmouth, let me know in the comments section below. It's kind of a little bit like Blackpool of the South. So I've spent all day in Great Yarmouth. Now the plan is to head to Norwich to see my friend Craig. I'm going to charge the car at the grid serve again, just so I've got enough charge tomorrow to set straight off to Chichester. So let's head to the grid serve. I really like this feature on the map now. You can see exactly how much a charger is going to be. You can see here the grid serve is going to be 69 pence per kilowatt hour. After driving around for a few days, I arrived with 22% battery or 70 miles left in the battery. Okay, so I've just got to the Norwich grid serve, and it's quite interesting because it looks like all of the lights are off upstairs, so I might just have to sit in the car for 30 minutes or so. But anyway, let's go find out. If not, I'm back in the car. See if it's opened. Damn, it's closed. I
need the toilet as well. Anyway, I'll head back to the car and sit in the car for 30 minutes. I had a fantastic night catching up with Craig. We headed to a few bars around the city centre. The next morning, I had a bit of a lie-in and then headed to a place called Yarmouth for a bit of breakfast before heading off from Norwich.
Okay, so that's my time here done in Norwich. I'm about halfway through my journey now. I'm now going to head on to Chichester and then we'll be going back to Manchester, of course. So let's see how we're doing on this trip graph. So far we've covered 337 miles, we've used 97 kilowatt hours and an average energy of 287 watt hours per mile. But now let's head on to Chichester. It's about 185 miles from Norwich to Chichester. Let's see what it recommends. So it's saying 4 hours and 11 minutes. That's quite long for a trip to Chichester. 192 miles. We're going to arrive at 4 p.m. with 17% left. So it's not actually going to stop me at all for a charge. So it's quite interesting. So let's just see how we get on. So as we drive to Chichester, something major has happened. Well, it's kind of major. If you've watched the channel, you know I got the Tesla Christmas update when I arrived in Norfolk. So I've kind of done half the journey with the old software and half the journey now will be with the brand new software. And there's one new feature which I've been using, while I've been driving for the last sort of 10-15 minutes. And that's the ability now for the indicators to automatically turn off once they've detected you've crossed some lines or you've done your maneuver, and that seems to be working really, really well. So you can watch the video up here if you want to see how you actually activate that. I definitely recommend turning that on in the settings. But essentially, you know how the indicators could always be a bit finicky, you would change lanes and they would still be on and you'd have to click them down again to turn them off. Well, now the Tesla will detect when you've indicated, you've crossed some lines, you're in your new lane, it's going to automatically turn those off. And it's actually a feature that's been working really, really well. So, or so far, the sort of first 15-20 minutes I've been driving. So I'm looking forward to trying that for the rest of the journey. I'll keep you updated on that and any other features. Of course, we now have the cards for music playback control on the bottom right hand side of the screen. The map is even bigger, it's already massive, but it's even bigger. And seems to be a little bit more detail on the maps as well, so that's all good. I really like now that the top right card has a bigger font. It's a little bit clearer what will be happening on your next part of the navigation, whether it's going over a roundabout or turning left or right or whatever. So it's nice to see that. So let me know in the comments as well while you're watching this video what we think of the new update, if you've updated your Tesla Model 3.
Now, even though I'm doing a ton of driving this week, I actually love driving in the Tesla, especially when it's a super nice bright day. I've had lots of cars throughout the year, and I'd easily say without a doubt the Tesla Model 3 is one of the most comfortable for a long drive, and with all of the great entertainment apps like Spotify and now Apple Music, it's always a joy.
Oh, we were doing so well. Traffic was pretty smooth all the way so far. I'm about quarter of the way, and now hitting some almost standstill traffic, so not good. It was actually saying as well that I wouldn't need a charge all the way to Chichester. It's just put one in about 5 miles, and I've got 131 miles to go, so I've actually just cancelled that out because I'd rather go a bit further and then charge a little bit closer to their house. Be interested to know what you guys do. Do you ever cancel out the charging stops? I tend to generally leave them how they are. If the Tesla wants to go on one, I'll go on one, but I've noticed recently it's starting to put them in a lot earlier. Maybe it's preempting that they might be super busy or a bit longer on, or I'm going to be stuck in traffic for a long time. But I don't know. It just seemed a little bit early, to be honest, when I've got 62% to start charging the car in about 5 miles time. Bit random. I've never had it that early before, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, I'm going to be stuck in traffic now for probably at least, oh God, at least 30 minutes by the look of this.
So just arrived at the supercharger in Sevenoaks. This is one of those ones where you have to make sure you register your car at the hotel check-in. So I'm going to go do that now, register the car and get a little bit of work done on my laptop and hopefully grab a coffee. And then we'll have a little look at the stats. Okay, we're now fully charged up to 83%. That should give us 269 miles. Let's have a look at the trip. It says we've got a live projection of 203 miles. Let's actually go to the trip. Let's use the new card system we've got here. The Christmas trip. Okay, it says we have done 406 miles. Total energy 132 kilowatt hours and average energy of 287. So we've had a great time in Chichester. Unfortunately, it was raining every single day and my camera isn't weatherproof, so I couldn't really film anything. So we're just gonna head straight back. I've got a bit of a cold. We're gonna be heading back all the way to Manchester today. This is gonna finalize the journey. It's saying roughly we are gonna stop at the Oxford supercharger and arrive with 7%, which is quite low, especially when it's quite cold. It's only 7 degrees. We've got an hour and 36 minutes, 93 miles to go. Okay, so we just thought about this, and the Oxford supercharger was the one that we stopped at last time, which was inside a park and ride. Now, it's okay for a quick charge. The superchargers are fine, but there's nothing there. There's one toilet. There's nothing in terms of like a coffee shop or somewhere to sit. So we don't really want to stop there because that's going to be a kind of like our lunchtime shop. Now, between here and there doesn't seem to be that many superchargers. There's the one at Havant, I think I pronounced that right. Again, there's nothing there. That's an industrial estate about 5 miles away. So we're going to stop at the one near Winchester, which says Winnell. I'm not sure what's there. Again, this could be almost nothing there. But I think what I'd rather do is maybe stop a little bit earlier, just a quick charge to 80%, and then we can stop at regular services on the way. So that's what we're going to do. Let's change that, and we'll see what the stats say. So it turned out the chargers are actually at the Tesla showroom. Okay, let's line this up here. Okay, so we've stopped at the Tesla in Winchester. So really interesting, never been here before, quite a few superchargers, and we've got the Tesla showroom, so we can have a look at some Teslas while we're charging and hopefully grab a coffee. Now it says estimated charge time is 10 minutes. I'm gonna take it, you know, right to the top, 80-90%, because it says I'll arrive with 1% back in Manchester, and I kind of don't want to stop again for another charge if we can help it. So let's plug in, get charging, and grab a coffee. We arrived here with 20% and then charged it all the way back up to 85% or 276 miles. Whilst we were there, I got to check out one of the new Tesla Model Ys and had a little coffee in the showroom. Okay, so we've charged up to 85%. Today that's saying I'm going to have 276 miles in the tank. We've got 216 miles left on our journey. It says about 3 hours and 36 minutes, and it says I'm going to arrive home with 6%. Those of you that watch the channel know I don't have a home charger, so I probably will charge either closer to home or at the Trafford Centre, which is my nearest charger. So anyway, let's get back on the road.
Bye, Teslas.
Hey, Teslas.
I'm just editing, just for a change.
What's that thing?
Always editing, always working on the move.
And then this would be the last supercharge of the journey. We arrived here with 15% and charged up to 86% or 281 miles, so I had enough charge for the week ahead. Okay, so we're back in the car. We have charged the car up to 86%. That is giving us 281 miles. Now, it's about half an hour from our home from here, but because there's some really heavy traffic at the moment, it says it's going to take us about an hour. So next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get home with all these bags to take out of the car. So I think the next part of the video,
let's look at the charging costs and rates and all of the data from this journey.
So I'm now back from that Christmas road trip and I've had a chance to look back through the video at some of that road trip data. So basically I covered 832 miles over that Christmas road trip. Probably one of the biggest ones I've done so far. A lot of miles in just a few days. And you can see that my battery used 233 kilowatt hours of juice from the battery and an average energy use of 281 watt hours per mile. Now that's a little higher than normal. I usually get around 250, but it was pretty cold this time of year. So now, really roughly, how much did that journey cost? Now, some of the superchargers were 69 pence per kilowatt, pretty expensive. Some of them were around 50 pence per kilowatt. So when I've been writing my notes, let's just say we're going to call it an average of 55 pence per kilowatt hour for this 832 mile trip. That would have cost me £128, which I don't think is actually too bad. I did the same calculations for my previous petrol car, and my petrol car would have cost me £162. And that's with the petrol costs at their current price, and of course the super high energy costs that we're seeing at the moment. But I'm pretty happy there was still a good saving to be had. Now, I know someone is going to comment below and say, Mark, if you charged at home, it wouldn't cost you anywhere near this. But the problem is, on a long road trip of any kind, you can't go back every day to charge at your home. You might be staying in a holiday rental, you might be going to see friends and family, and you will need to use public charging of some kind. Now, the Tesla superchargers aren't the cheapest, but they're also not the most expensive either. Now, if you could charge at home, let's say you were doing that same journey and you were getting around sort of 10 pence per kilowatt hour, the whole trip would cost around £23. So of course, if you're just doing the journey, to and from work, it wouldn't cost you that much for that amount of miles. But on a road trip, you are going to be paying at the moment those sky high energy costs. But as I say, I'm pretty happy with how that journey turned out. And for 832 miles, it was a super comfy journey. I'm still loving the Tesla Model 3. And I just want to say a big thank you if you've got this far through the video. Let me know if you've got any questions below, and I'll see you in the next video.